Welcome to Cramer. Up, big friends. I'm just trying to make a little money. My job is not just to entertain, but to educate. Explain days like today. A little more difficult. So call me, 1-800-743-CBC. Tweet me, Jim Cramer. Pullback. Yep, we had a legit tech pullback today. Yet when I survey the stock market battlefield, I don't sense the kind of violent sell-off that makes me think that we're going to have a series of vicious down days ahead. The averages seem to be setting up for some profit-taking, though, with the Dow dipping 92 points, S&P declining 0.38%, and the Nasdaq losing 0.67%. Makes sense to me, though, given how much we've run. It's been straight up, people. In some cases, some real parabolic moves, and I don't like parabolas. They often precede big declines. So let's talk about sell-offs. Every sell-off creates fear and worry. Today, we have one of my least favorite kinds of sell-offs, actually. One that starts with a rally after the opening bell and then a reversal. That means a lot of people who bought very early in the morning are really underwater, leaving you with a bunch of fellow shareholders whom you cannot trust because they themselves feel very burned. You don't know who they are, but they are now your enemy because they are highly unlikely to want to buy more. These people probably think they came in at the top. They're much more likely to listen to the parade of bears who come on and say the AI boom is about to collapse, just like the dot-com boom 25 years ago. They bought high, these people, hoping to sell higher. And now they're mistaken owners. They often have no idea what they own because they only wanted to be renters. Sell-offs like rallies are a process. At any given time, you're going to hear that stocks have run too far too fast. Always. I've heard it all my life. I heard it in Dow 800. I heard it. You're going to hear people talk about how the market's overvalued. I heard that since Dow 800. You're going to hear about the term bubble over and over again. That I heard, didn't hear till Dow 1100. You will think that you are about to lose everything, so you will just hit the panic button and get out, taking the stock down with you as others are sure to join. The Jeremiahs, oh, they're so compelling. They sound so smart. I have to work hard myself not to blow out of stocks for my Chapel Trust that I know and love. These skeptics really are, they're very good at what they do. And you know what? They'll be right for some stocks. Typically the ones that have no earnings or no sales that have gone up just on momentum, or the ones that need the Federal Reserve to keep cutting rates in order to make the numbers, like the home builders that got annihilated today. They were crushed. But as I write in How to Make Money in Any Market, when you get hit with a sell-off, that's when you should buy more of your favorite growth stocks. Emphasis on growth, because cyclicals, the growth stocks, the one you've done the homework on, the believe on, the one you've looked at the fundamentals. You know the company. You've read the conference call. You even looked at the balance sheet, perhaps, which I tell you how to do in the book. Look, I think it's too soon to buy. It's day one. You have to wait for your stocks to go down a bit more before you can pull the trigger, as many stocks are still very close to their highs, and I just talked about the process. We've got really weak holders who just came in. Still, remember that you want to buy, not sell into weakness. If that is you like the company, though, and not just the stock's trajectory before the sell-off began. Do you know the company? Important to ask that. Should have asked it before you bought. Today, the CNBC Investing Club held a meeting with Jensen Huang, the founder and CEO of Nvidia. Jensen was gracious enough to field questions and take pictures with club members. He was something. It was a terrific, non-cynical, non-nihilist session where he dazzled us with insight, but also won us over with kindness. If you were there or you streamed it as a club member, you most certainly feel better about the competition from AMD or the resilience of AI data center spending for the hyperscalers, or worries about how much Oracle may or may not be making on an Nvidia platform, or just the future, how great the future could be. There were so many terrific stories told about people who bought Nvidia for next to nothing, many of them when I renamed my dog Nvidia back in 2017. We had tales of regular people who watched and made hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. When I sat down afterwards to think about what to say tonight at the top of the show, I realized that the contrast between today's trading versus the long-term investing on display at that meeting is so stark, we got to deal with it head on. First, there are plenty of people who haven't made money owning Nvidia, and I wish they had. There are plenty of people who haven't made money in the stock market at all. I don't want you to think that a group of 76 CNBC Investing Club members who wanted to meet Jensen Huang are somehow representative of the average American investor. They're clearly not. These are people who owned Nvidia and didn't trade it. Their fortitude is what allowed them to win. They heard bubble all their existence. From the moment they bought this stock, they heard bubble. From the moment they bought it, they had billionaires telling them to sell. But they wanted to make money, too. They wanted their piece of the American dream. I have no illusion. I pick clunkers. I just have a better handle on the risk control situation. But the people today, I'm talking about wonderment. Second and more important, I'm sure some of those people bought Nvidia on a down day like today. Maybe they got picked off at the high and they finished the day down a couple of bucks. But the natural experience in the market is to lament, be angry, and even give up. And these people didn't. The people in the room stayed. They could have even bought more on weakness. Why? Because, you see, they had faith in two things. They had faith in the stock market and the faith in Nvidia itself. They understood, which you could say is an extension of Jensen Huang, obviously. They understood that it's possible to make big money in individual stocks, but it does come with risk. You can control some of that risk by accumulating stocks gradually instead of all at once. That way, if we get a reversal day like today, that's just a better entry point for your next purchase. More important, though, they had faith in Jensen. They had faith in Jensen Huang and Nvidia. When I listened to Jensen today talking about Nvidia's long-term plans to power the fourth industrial revolution and how Nvidia is going to augment the entire world's GDP because its customers have so many lucrative plans for its technology, it makes me want to buy more for the charitable trust, even though we're already up more than 1,000% on this one. And if we added back the stock that we sold because the stock had gotten so big, well, we would have been up well in excess of 1,000%. Oh, okay, I found myself not worrying about China sales, even as you don't need to in the first place, because Jensen's not including anything from China in the numbers. I didn't worry about a story about how Oracle might be losing millions of dollars on Nvidia's chips because they ran out or whatever, because the chips are really a small part of Oracle's grand plan to dominate the world data center, and the story was therefore, I regard, as inaccurate. I didn't worry that Nvidia's nearly $4.5 trillion market capitalization had gotten ahead of itself. Any stock can go down at any given time. Of course, I always worry when a stock goes up as much as Nvidia has, but I've seen oil stocks and cell phone stocks and software stocks and drug stocks crawl to the top of the heap, and I was concerned about those too. Stocks are risk assets, so if you're not concerned about risk, well, then you're in the wrong business. All that said, what matters to me is that I've learned to trust the market in general, and Nvidia in particular. Jensen Huang has earned the benefit of the doubt. That's what's happened. That confidence, that gives me confidence to buy more of Nvidia if it goes lower. That's how I view every stock in my charitable trust. I accept and even expect them to go lower when I buy them. And just like with a sale at the store, in the mall, or Amazon Prime Day, I can't wait to be able to buy more at even better prices. Here's the bottom line. If you don't feel that way about a stock that you bought today that went down, if you now believe that you bought into a bubble, I cannot help you. Let the billionairestas scare you out of that same exact market that they made their money in. Maybe that's what they're there for. But for me, I'm trying to help you make money in individual stocks. And that only works if you believe in them enough to buy more when they inevitably pull back. Just be patient. Be ready. And don't get downhearted. Don't feel that you've made the biggest mistake in your life because some talking head billionaire said, alas, the end is nigh. Now, let's take questions from the members of the CNBC Investing Club who are here today. Sir, what's your question?
Booyah, Jim.
Booyah.
I want to thank you so much for having me. My name is Martin Jenkins. I flew in from Florida just to be here with you. And
Thank you.
My question is about Meta.
The Meta, okay.
And as far as Mark Zuckerberg, what is his next lever to pull for this next phase of expansion?
Okay, I think that he has, if you go and read, first of all, thank you for coming from Florida, and thank you for your question. Meta, he really believes, Mark, that wearing glasses is the best way to get artificial intelligence. So they're just going to get more and more sophisticated. I feel like I have to buy each iteration. I love the fact, by the way, that Jensen works very closely with Mark. And I think that the method of glasses is just going to keep dazzling us. I like the fact that Zuckerberg is ahead of us in thinking, but that's going to be the form factor, and I think it's going to work. Thank you. Look, my mission here is to help you make money with individual stocks, and that only works if you believe in the companies enough to buy them when their stocks pull back. On Mad Money tonight, is now the time to make a mad dash for DoorDash? I'm telling you where I come down on the food delivery company after it's run to all-time highs. Then there are some obvious winners from the data center trade, but what about the companies that are actually building these behemoths? I'm scanning through some of the under-the-radar names that should be on your short list. And we had our investing club meeting I talked about earlier with a very special guest, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang. So don't miss my conversation with the modern-day Da Vinci. And stay with Cramer.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on X. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadMentions. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.